is the name of it is the development of a comprehensive food safety needs assessment for New Mexico food processors. So New Mexico is an agricultural state. That means that part of its income come from crops and food-related industries. And actually in 2012, the agricultural production total impact plus the food processing total impact both together to 13.1% of the New Mexico gross domestic product, which you may think 13.1% or 100 is not a lot, but actually crops and related industries generates to the state's economy about $3 billion annually. So you may see it's a big amount of money annually, and also agriculture on those related type of fields supports about 23,000 jobs in the state of New Mexico. So here is just some products that New Mexico produce, which are the livestock, chili peppers, pecans, poultry, milk, onions, pumpkins, lettuce, corn, cotton. I can say many more, but this is just an idea of what New Mexico produce right now. So those products, some of those products make keep New Mexico as one of the top 10 production states. For example, New Mexico is the largest producer nationwide of chili peppers, and it is one of the top 3 pecan producing states in the nation. Actually, in 2018, it was the first one. So you may see New Mexico is keep on that branch of places. Also, it is on the 7th, it occupies the 7th place on the highest milk producing states, and it has the 8th place in cheese producing. So actually from the milk, New Mexico supports many large cheese producers around the country. So also that's an extra income that New Mexico has from other states. So that's the good part about food production, but there is another part that many people doesn't think about, which is food safety. So basically, there is a lot of, it can go from a big, small mistake, or it can be the food workers doesn't follow good hygiene, doesn't have good hygiene practices, or the SSOPs needs to be updated, or there is not a good clean or safety program into place. So they might cause 2 things: loss of income to the state, also loss of money to fight these outbreaks. For example, annually, United States spends about $15.6 million to fight this type of outbreaks that I'm gonna explain later on. So I'm gonna explain first what an outbreak is. An outbreak is, a foodborne. I'm gonna explain first what a foodborne illness is, which is an infection caused by eating food or any drink, any contaminated food or drink, which usually is done by bacteria or contaminated by parasites. So when 2, 3, more, 4, 5 thousands or millions of people get the same illness from the same source, this is where a foodborne illness outbreak comes from. So from 2008 to 2018, New Mexico has been involved in 46 multi-state foodborne outbreaks and in 53 single-state foodborne outbreaks. I have to explain that multi-state foodborne outbreaks differ from single-state outbreaks in the sense that when an outbreak source occurs, let's say in one state, and that product travels to New Mexico or to Colorado, that is a multi-state outbreak when it affects more than 2 or 3 or 4 states. But a single state outbreak occurs only one single state, in this case, New Mexico. So the government of United States, basically, together with FDA, USDA, they requires training to food industries in order to offer a safe product to the consumer. So I'm gonna just introduce a little bit to trainings that are offered to them. Some of the first one is a Preventive Control Qualified Individual, the PCQI course, where instructors and students talks about food safety plans, hazard analysis, critical control points, and good manufacturing practices, where they talk about how to prevent foodborne illness to happen before the product reaches the consumer. Also, we have a Better Process Control School, where usually canning food processors take this course, where they talk about acidified foods, low acid foods, trauma processing, and canning. No, because also bacteria may affect, bacteria can be, survive on oxygen, but also they can survive it without oxygen. So that's why it is important, those courses as well. So as I mentioned before, safety in food is really, really important, not only because it affects the economy of the state or the country, but also because it affects the health of the consumer, basically, and it might be a life-threatening as well. So here's where my justification comes. So it's important that New Mexico workforce receive good training in order to help them to achieve the high standards and to offer a good food, in order to offer a good quality and safe food product. But also it is important to them to understand the knowledge that they're getting. For example, some of those trainings that I talked about before, they are offered just for 2 days. But unfortunately, the thing is, the food workers stays from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. So basically, it's a long, long period of time where some of the assistants may lose track of the course, so they are not getting the information that they may need in order to offer a food safe product to the consumer. So my main objective is to develop a useful tool that it might be used by extension professionals to target food safety knowledge deficiencies. I'm gonna go for chili food processors just because New Mexico is the largest producer, so I think it will be an interesting topic to cover. And also, yes, so my methodology is to already request access to the New Mexico Environmental Department training database, where here on this database, I can find information about the training they offered and also the facilities that assist to those trainings. So I'm gonna choose a training after that. I'd rather to go for the PCQI course just because I think it's more related to the chili processing in this area. And based on that, I'm gonna develop a survey regarding the type of training they receive. So some of the questions that I will ask is how they feel about the training, what they like about the training, how the training can be improved, and what other information will be important to them to learn in order to apply to the facility they're working on. So basically, because on the pandemic, I'm gonna send the survey to chili food processors close website, and I'm gonna, after getting response, I will get my answers and develop and conduct a data analysis on that. And based on the information and based on the results that I get, I will present and offer additional educational materials to address those safety knowledge deficiencies. And that's my references. So I'm start working on this. So I will happy to answer any questions you may have.
Hi, Carla. Thank you for your talk. I just have one small question. As your focus with chili producers, well, manufacturing, what are the main issues with food spoilage microorganisms in those processes?
Actually, as I have looking on CDC webpage, and there is no a lot of outbreaks on chili processing. So I might be looking for those bacteria as well.
Okay, thank you very much.
Any other questions for Carla?
Yes, Carla. So within the scope of your work, what other products nationwide would you recommend for this type of assay and surveys that you want to conduct? If you want to make it broader, besides chili, which produce would you go with and why do you think that's important?
Actually, I will go a little bit broader. I was thinking to go for the probably dairy product. I was ready to do pecans, but I don't think there is a lot of issues right now with that. So if I had the opportunity, I would like to go for dairy.
Why dairy, Carla?
Just because I think there is some related issues with dairies. Listeria also is a big issue. It's a deadly bacteria. So I think it's important to give information about how to keep safe food product in order to prevent any problem with that.
Okay, thank you, Carla.
Thank you.
Hi, Carla. I don't really have a question. This is Nancy. I actually like your presentation a lot because it gives us a lot of information, especially for those of us that are undergraduate students, you know, to come up with like ideas, I guess, if we want to continue our education. Because I think that's one of the biggest things, you know, I guess you're always afraid of always continuing education, especially when you're like an older student. And, you know, but then seeing you guys presenting, you know, it kind of helps us. I mean, I'm talking for myself, but it kind of helps us to, you know, see a little bit more than just a bachelor's degree, you know. I mean, I'm not really thinking about doing a PhD yet, but, you know, maybe a master's degree at the moment, you know, since I'm getting so close to graduation. But it actually helps a lot with the presentations that you guys are doing, you know, and you know, that's always good. I really like your presentation, and I mean, so far I really like whatever we've been seeing up to right now.
Oh, thank you, Nancy, and I'm glad to hear that. And yes, if you want to go for a master's degree, go for it. It's different from, I can tell you, it's way different from undergrad to be a master's. And basically you learn a lot. And, you know, you get happy because you're learning things that you didn't learn as an undergrad. So I encourage
Yes.
you to do a master's, and yes, you won't regret it.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah. I'm a little bit afraid about the rejection, as Dr. Martinez said, but I mean, it's good. I guess rejection is good in this planet, right? Because that just forces you to push a little bit harder and be better, I guess, and prove, you know, those people that actually rejected you to be, you know, that you can actually do this, that this is actually happening, you know. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's just a challenge that we all face, I think, as people, you know. Yeah, but that's great. Thank you for the presentation.
No, thank you so much for your words, Nancy.
Okay, we have a few more minutes, a couple more minutes for more questions before we move to the next speaker.
Yeah, I do have a question. How your work complement the existing safety programs? For instance, HACCP is well established. How your work will complement those programs?
So basically, HACCP is a good program as well. So what I want to focus more is some of the, so HACCP basically is a broad course. So for example, some food processors may have other needs. For example, the dairy product doesn't have the same needs as chili processors or as pecans processors. So basically, I want to see what they would like to learn more. So I think that would be help because they may be here by those, hopefully by those agents or by instructors. So more information can be given to them in order to help them to improve on their related field. I don't know if that answers your question.
So I think Karla's research is, you know, it's applied research, and it goes to the key of food safety. Out there is a lot of misinformation and also lack of understanding of many food safety practices, right? Oftentimes the management of, you know, food industry do not follow up with their employees in a regular basis, and definitely that impacts in the safety, in the, you know, the level of safety in the final product. So Karla, I think with her research, will identify this these areas of lack of knowledge and also misunderstanding of information for her to propose later, you know, training practices or improvement of practices to improve this safety outcomes of in the food industry, right? So I think it goes to the heart of the employees and the training practices out there in the industry.
Correct.
Hi, Karla. This is Mian. I just wanted to tell you your research was very insightful, and I look forward to hearing more about your research in the future.
Thank you so much, Mayon. And anytime if you want to hear more about it or you are interested more on it, you're welcome to ask me. You know, you have my email, you have everything, so you're welcome to ask me about that, and I'm happy to hear you're interested on it.
Thank you.
Okay, so I think it's one more question. Okay.
One more question, just really quick. I know that in our area, our food processors, we have a very large Spanish-speaking population. Are you thinking about implementing maybe a bilingual survey to be able to communicate across language barriers?
You know what? I haven't think about that. That would be interesting. I think yes. I will be making a survey on English, also in Spanish. So yes.
Okay, great. You did a really great job, Karla. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Marta.
Bye.
Okay, I think it's time for us to move to our second speaker, but before we get started, I would like to remind everyone